Are you looking to become a top earner in network marketing because you believe that it's going to solve all your financial challenges? If so, I totally get it. But in this video, we're going to talk about the three main surprising reasons why many top earners are actually broke and what you can do to make sure that you're not one of them.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Brian, and we're the Predictable Wealth Advocates. And what we do is we help ambitious millennials like yourself secure a predictable financial future without sacrificing their current lifestyle. Today, we're going to talk about something that's more so in my wheelhouse and background than yours.
Yeah.
But it's something that's very interesting to say the least, because in my industry and profession, there are so many people that believe, and this is what I thought, if you're making $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month, that you're going to be set.
You're good.
However, that's not necessarily the case. So we're going to talk about that. So the first surprising reasons why many top earners are broke, not all, is that turns out building a business and creating wealth through investing are two very different things. And you know, as an entrepreneur, that if you're going to build a business, it requires taking risk. You're investing everything, your time, knowledge, resources, money into getting things off the ground. And there's a certain level of risk that you've got to take. Mm-hmm. Investing, that I've learned through challenges myself, is quite opposite in many ways, because it requires you to keep your money, not risk all of your money, and grow that money at the same time. And that's just not a skill that most of us are ever taught, especially inside the profession of network marketing.
Mm-hmm. Or chiropractic, for that matter.
So, personal story, not the most fun story to tell, but I'm more transparent about it now. I got no shame in the fact that I made, mistakes, just not knowing certain things, but built up a sizable passive income in the space of network marketing, which is amazing, and took that money and grew that money, but and had some big wins with that, but I was taking too big of risks with too much of that money. And it worked out until it didn't work out. And I learned the hard lesson that it's better to keep your money and grow your money rather than trying to go for that home run, if you will. And so one of the big things that network marketers do is, because they've got stars in their eyes and they're optimistic and they're entrepreneurs at spirit, wanting to take those risks, is they put money into things that look really good, that there can be some big returns, or it just sounds really good. And a lot of times those things don't work out, so you can lose a sizable portion of your net worth.
That's always been my experience too. I put not necessarily money, energy into something, or buy something that is promising me a huge return, and there may be some risk involved in putting that money down and a huge reward on the other end. But most of the time, from what I've found, the only thing that's really worth my time is good old-fashioned hard work and patience.
Absolutely agreed. And are there times and places to take risk? Sure, and maybe we talk about that in another video. And we're not financial advisors, so we're not here to tell you what to do with your money. But there's a time and place where you can put in a smaller percentage of your net worth into something that has the potential for bigger returns. But for the most of your money, it shouldn't be in something like that. Which leads us to our second point, which is that expenses typically rise to the level of income. And so you might be surprised if somebody's making $50,000 a month. How could they be spending $50,000 a month? But think about it in your own life. If you've got a raise at your job, or as an entrepreneur, you went from making $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month, or whatever it was. It's kind of interesting how those expenses just start to kind of creep up to what you're making. I was having lunch with a friend in North Carolina, a top earner, $1 million a year earner. And I asked this person, I said, and great person, I said, how does it feel to be making over $80,000 a month? And they said, well, it's great, but we don't know really where it goes. And this was many years ago, and I was like, how do you make $80,000 a month or more and not know where it goes? However, expenses typically rise to the level of income.
Yeah, and I feel the same way in my line of work. You could have a huge practice producing millions of dollars every year, but along with that, again, comes a lot of expenses, staffing, overhead, tons of money that goes into that stuff that you wouldn't necessarily have if you were running a clinic that didn't make as much, but also didn't have as much on the side. So it's give and take. The other thing, you and I are both basketball players, or ex-basketball players, and one thing that I always found fascinating was, after getting out of the NBA, 3 years after the NBA, the average NBA player is broke. And you think about how much money these guys make. I don't know what the average salary is nowadays, but when we were in college, the bare minimum those guys were making was somewhere around 1.3 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Going broke after 3 years really speaks to that point. They live such lavish lifestyles. Mom, dad, brother, sister, friends, everybody's getting a paycheck off their paycheck. Eventually, the well runs dry.
It happens all the time. This is a common thing that just we don't get taught how to avoid this. The third reason kind of piggybacks off of that is in the profession of network marketing. And again, some people don't believe it's a profession. That's a whole nother conversation too. But there's a pressure for top earners to help their team and other people believe that they're actually making the money that they're making. So it's like if I'm making $50,000 or $100,000 a month, I'm kind of expected, it's kind of an unspoken thing, I'm expected to drive a Maserati or a Range Rover or have a $1 million house.
Yeah.
And have the nice watches, nice clothes, all those kind of different things. So there's kind of this unspoken pressure that if I'm really a top earner, then I should be living a top earner lifestyle.
Status, right? Inner drive for humans, status. No matter how you get it, money's a great way to do it though.
Yeah. On the opposite side of that spectrum, I've got a friend who, making $50,000 a month in the industry and bought a very conservative home, wasn't driving any fancy cars, wore the same t-shirt every day pretty much. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. And this person, their team was questioning, like, is this person really making $50,000 a month? Because they weren't living the quote unquote lifestyle, but I knew for a fact they're making the $50,000 a month consistently for a long period of time. So there's that pressure to show off like you're actually making the money that you're making, which is one of the reasons why a lot of top earners end up being broke.
All right, so what's the solution then? How do you make sure you end up like this top earner, but also not this top earner that went broke?
That's a great question. And the cool part is that you can actually create a lot of financial success long before you're a top earner if you know certain strategies. To answer that question, I'll tell you about an experience that I had. I flew out across the country to interview a top earner, grab dinner with this person, somebody who made a lot of money in network marketing, but also had done very well in in traditional business, owned a yacht. And so, it's not the money that you make in network marketing that makes you wealthy. It's what you do with that makes you wealthy.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get his perspective on this because he was a high net worth individual. One of the last questions that I asked him at this dinner before I flew home the next morning was, if you had only $100,000 to your name, what would you do?
Yeah.
You could tell he'd never been asked the question before, but he said that what he would do, it was a surprising answer because he does real estate, he does all kinds of different things. He said, the first thing that I would do is I would put all $100,000 into a dividend paying whole life insurance policy, aka infinite banking, is what he said.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll talk a little bit later about what he would do next. But he said that was the number one thing that he would do, which was a huge clue to me that if he's had this much success over a long term, maybe that's something that's worth paying attention to. So if you are a top earner or an aspiring top earner, great, go climb the ranks of your company. Making that kind of money is a great thing. However, it's more important with what you do with that money that you earn. And you want to avoid some of the mistakes that many people make, mistakes that I've made in the past that are just painful, and you don't want to go down that road. If you'd like to learn more about what this infinite banking thing is all about, or how you might be able to implement it in your life, even before you get to the top ranks, we've got other videos on this channel that you can check out to learn more so that you can secure a predictable financial future even before you're a top earner. I feel like I repeated myself, or no?
No, I mean, maybe. Cut it out. Remember that?
Yeah.
Who was that? Was that Jesse or was that the other guy?
I do not know.
Cut it out. That's not what I'm supposed to say. What am I saying? How do you make it? How do you